Welcome to Module 5, where we will be discussing carb counting. We'll talk a little bit about what a carb is again. We'll talk about what carb counting is, what a carb counting schedule looks like, some serving examples, and some tips for how to incorporate this into your lifestyle. So what is a carbohydrate again? A carbohydrate, also known as a carb, is a macronutrient. It's found in sugars, starches, and fibers. But fibers does not provide any calories, so fibers are not included in carb counting. Carbohydrates impact your blood sugars and insulin, and they provide 4 calories per gram. Carb counting is a more specific way of managing your carb intake and blood sugars while you have diabetes, versus something like MyPlate that gives you a vague estimate of what portion of your plate should be a carbohydrate. Carb counting gets much more specific on the grams of carbohydrates in your food. Carb counting splits your carb allowances into 15-gram portions, also known as an exchange. Carb counting can also help you keep your blood sugar stable by spreading the carbs out throughout the day, since carb counting is not intended for you to have all of those exchanges in one meal. It is more intended that you spread them out and have it regularly at the same times every other day. An example of this schedule might be something like this. Perhaps you need a total of 255 carb servings throughout your day. This is pretty close to an average 2,000 calorie lifestyle. Maybe you like to have a little bit more carb during your dinner. So you might put 75 for dinner, 60 for breakfast, and 60 for lunch, and split the remaining 60 up for 2 snacks. You would try to eat this way with your carbs portioned out like this every single day so that your body is able to prepare a bit and your body can get on a schedule. One carb serving equals 15 grams, as mentioned earlier. This might look like a slice of bread, 2 taco shells, maybe 3 cups of popped popcorn, a small fruit, half cup of juice, 1 cup fat-free milk, a tablespoon of jam, a half cup of ice cream, or even a half cup of beans. There's many other carb exchanges out there, basically for any food that you can think of. So either look it up, or you can look at the links at the bottom of this module, and there's plenty of resources in those as well. What is a free carb serving? So as mentioned, one exchange is 15 grams. So a free carb is something that's going to have much fewer than that, somewhere around 5 grams per serving. This usually looks like some raw, non-starchy vegetables. Remember, a starchy vegetable is going to be something like peas, corn, or potatoes. So a non-starchy vegetable might be something like bell peppers, broccoli, cauliflower, celery, or some lettuce. This can also be a half cup of cooked vegetables. It can get hard to figure out portions throughout your day, especially because carb counting relies on portion sizes. So being able to use your hand can be very helpful. So trying to use something like this, for instance, your fist is about the size of a cup, your palm is about the size of a deck of cards, or 3 ounces, which is a portion of meat. Your thumb tip is about 1 teaspoon. Your handful is about 1 or 2 ounces. And your whole thumb is about 1 ounce. Some tips for incorporating this into your day. Try to practice measure out some items that are 15 gram serving, like a piece of bread. Perhaps you prefer a sourdough that isn't evenly cut up so that you're not able to just grab a slice. Maybe try weighing a piece of bread and seeing exactly how many grams it is. That way you can better know how many grams of carbohydrates it is once you calculate it out after looking at the nutrition label on your bread. Also practice reading the nutrition labels when you go to grocery shop. This can help you better figure out throughout your day what you might be able to have and add to your meals. Choose some sugar-free options whenever you're craving sugar. This can help so that you don't spike your blood sugar, and it might also help satiate that craving of yours. But beware of some sugar substitutes, as they can upset your stomach. And some sugar options, such as agave or honey, some people often consider them to impact your blood sugar less, but that is a misconception, and they impact your sugar just as much as regular old syrup does. Focus on choosing some nutrient-dense options for your carb servings. Since we want to make sure we're getting as many micronutrients as we possibly can, we want to try to think of something that's nutrient dense, which means that it has a lot of nutrients for its weight. Something like a vegetable versus a low dense nutrient option, which might be something like white bread. At the bottom of this module, there are also some worksheets that can help you practice carb counting. Be sure to check out the links below as well for more carb counting exchanges.